Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland, Mr. Coghill,
Here.
Ms. Gross, Mr. Mosley,
Here.
Mrs. Kill Smith,
7
Mrs.
years in,
Strasburger.
still
Here.
making mistakes.
Mrs. Warwick.
Sorry, I'm also here.
Here. Mr. Wilson, Mr. Lavelle, President.
Here.
6 members present.
Thank you very much. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Our next order of business will be proclamations, and we have one to be presented by Councilman Mosley.
Can the good folks from Belmar Gardens come on up? I'm really honored to do this proclamation this morning. It's a special day, to honor, a true solution, that really reflects the housing challenges that we're facing today, in this city. Belmar Gardens has really been a beacon around how to provide affordable housing many, many years ago. And I think it's a great model that we need to look at as we grapple with this challenge here today. And another thing that's really inspirational about doing this proclamation today is that my good friend, Dr. Tysana Jones, so I think outside of my actual relatives, I think I've known you longer than any other human being in the world. Like some of my earliest memories was my mother used to babysit us in the late 70s and early 80s. And actually, today's a special day. If my mother was still alive, today would be her 90th birthday. So this is kind of this is kind of like full circle with me and Dr. Jones's very circuitous journey through life. And then the last thing I'll say before I begin the proclamation, is that one of my greatest honors of representing District 9 is the rich history of the communities, and it is captured, in Belmar Gardens, being that Jessie Van, the wife of the great Robert L. Van, and she is the great Jessie Van as well. She was the publisher of the Courier for 23 years after Mr. Van's death. So again, it just shows how, the deep tapestry of the rich culture and heritage, of District 9 and the city of Pittsburgh, as a whole. So with that long introduction, we will begin this proclamation. Whereas in October of 2024, was the 70th anniversary of Belmar Gardens' first shareholders. Belmar Gardens is located in District 9's Lincoln, Leamington, Belmar neighborhood, and was the brainchild of Mr. Robert L. Van's wife, Jessie Van, the publisher of the Pittsburgh Courier. And whereas Mrs. Van created a path for middle-income black families to obtain home ownership during a time when black families were refused bank loans in the city of Pittsburgh. Belmar Gardens was this country's first cooperative built with FHA insured mortgages. Construction was started in October of 1953, and whereas Belmar Gardens comprises a total of 118 units that were built on 17 acres of land. A mortgage burning celebration was done in August of 1995 when the $1,212,900 mortgage was paid off. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby recognize and congratulate Belmar Gardens as a mixed-age, mixed-income community that is now home to seniors, working professionals, and families, and be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 to be Belmar Gardens Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Anybody want to say a few words? Anybody want to come up? Is anybody?
So the reason I asked for this proclamation to
to recognize Belmore Garden is that one of the things that scare me most about where we are in this country is the erasure of Black history and women's history. So the fact that everything I looked at to find out more information about Belmore kept saying Mrs. Robert Evan. I'm like, what's her name? So that to me was a calling. It was, okay, we got to make sure that this woman's name is known and that Belmore Gardens is known for the work that was done. There's a reason. It was created as a response to racism, let's be honest. So Black folks couldn't get loans. They had the money, they had the GI Bills, they had all the things they needed, and their white colleagues and counterparts who they served with in the military could get houses. And with houses, you're able to build generational wealth. And so before we even get to generational wealth, we know that they needed somewhere to live that they enjoyed, that was a community that was clean, that was new. And this was an opportunity that was taken to create a community that way. So this was created as a middle-class community for Black people who wanted to live together as a community and to learn and to grow and to build with one another. And so we want to make sure that our history is not forgotten. Belmore Gardens is a Black community. We want it to stay that way. We want to use Black contractors and plumbers and everybody. We want our community to thrive. We want people to know about Belmore Gardens as we want people to know about the rich history of the other Black communities in this city and why that is important to the healthiness and wellness of Black people of the city. So thank you so much, Councilman Mosley, for doing this proclamation for Belmore Gardens. Thank you, City of Pittsburgh.
Let's discuss. Stay up. Did anybody else want to say a few words? Okay. I'd like to invite my fellow members up to take a photo.
Oh, man.
She covered for you. Did you call me back there? Here. And here we go.
Here, we'll take it back.
Here's going.
Yeah, wow. You know, I guess if that's for I gotta get it anyway.
I guess for pictures.
Good seeing you.
We're just all jealous.
Citizens Police Review Board. She's
Oh, yeah. She's at the table. Yeah, she comes at the table. Right. Okay, good.
And we have one to be read into the record from Councilman Coghill.
Councilman Coghill presents, be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Sunday, March 30th, 2025 to be Kiyoshi Mano Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Proclamation has been approved. We have one will of council from Councilwoman Gross. Are we just reading the last portion, Councilwoman?
Councilwoman Gross presents, be it further resolved that a copy of this will of council will be distributed to the directors of the Pittsburgh Public School Board of Directors and the superintendent of Pittsburgh Public Schools.
And may we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Will of council has been approved. That moves us on to public comment. I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which may be before city council, and profanity will not be permitted. After you are called, please restate your name, provide your neighborhood for the record. You will be given 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Lindsay Bailey.
Hello, how are you this morning?
Good.
My name is Lindsay Bailey, and I live in the Keysport, Pennsylvania. Today I really wasn't sure what this council meeting was going to be about, what I could really talk about and what I couldn't talk about. But I guess I'll just talk about the Keysport. I moved here a year ago, and I didn't really do much investigating before I moved my family here. And I just want to say this is a very dangerous area, extremely dangerous. My family and I have gotten followed home multiple times by people with mental health issues, the police here. As a matter of fact, the one man who assaulted me in front of my child and my partner, the McKeesport police had told me that evening that he had been not only kicked out of a bar once already, but the police had been called on him probably 4 other times, saying that he'd done the same thing. So why are we releasing people who are following people home? I don't understand that. Secondly, there was a gentleman, a black gentleman, 73 years old, veteran, just got out of the VA hospital. And the McKeesport police took it upon themselves to say he was resisting arrest. There's a video of this. I'm sure some of you have seen this. And if you haven't, maybe you should look it up, because us in the city of McKeesport are calling for something to be done about this, because the chief is saying that the police did not break any policies, nor did they break any laws. There's a video of this man on the ground. His family standing by. He was a black man, mind you, and they were white police officers. His family standing by silently while these 3 officers tackle him. He had a trach in his throat, popped his trach out. He couldn't breathe, he couldn't speak, nothing. There are photos circulating around. His face, black and blue, swollen. He had 9 broken ribs, and guess where he ended back up? The hospital. How could a 73-year-old man been resisting arrest so badly that these officers felt it necessary to slam him to the ground? This man could have died. This is unacceptable. Just yesterday, my fiance and I went to go look at a house up on Idaho in McKeesport. It's a red, white, and blue house. We were waiting for the landlord to get there. And guess what happened? A high-speed chase down a one-way street, the wrong way. There were people, there's a very small community, it's literally 2 streets above Crawford Village. This kid stole a car and the cops were chasing him. I have video of it. This is getting out of control. There are children running around the city of McKeesport committing crimes. The police aren't doing their jobs, and when they think they're doing their jobs.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alexandra Massip.
Good morning, members of council. Like the speakers before me, I'm a member of the Pittsburgh community, and you can see it all around you.
Please give us your name and neighborhood for the record.
Alexander Massip, Oakland.
Thank you.
I'm concerned. You can see it all around you. The natural world is changing quickly at a pace that can be hard to keep up with. I would like something to celebrate too. One of Pittsburgh's hidden gems, Panther Hollow Lake. The lake is one of the only major water resources serving Oakland, a neighborhood that depends on it for recreation, mental well-being, and community connection. Apart from the smaller Lake Elizabeth, there is nothing like it in the city. Lots of work has been done on the lake, including a petition that has gathered almost 500 signatures. The data consistently indicates a decline in water quality, as there has been an accumulation of sediment that has caused a loss of 10 feet of depth to the lake. It has become a breeding ground for invasives and E. coli colonies. It suffers from combined sewage overflow, stormwater runoff, and algal blooms. The boaters, fishermen, and picnickers has vanished along with the glory of this lake that was once well taken care of. But we don't want to accept the lake's current condition as a status quo. We can restore it, and we have a vision to make that happen. We'll take baby steps, starting with my academic group's planned event in collaboration with Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, taking place on April 6th from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Shenley Park Visitor Center. We will be replacing invasives with native sediment capturing plants. We have the expertise, we have the passion. We have brought together local researchers, sustainability advocates, and community members. Now, we need the city's support to take the next step. The truth is that our communities are in constant need of cleaner water, more sustainable infrastructure, and easier access to green spaces. Panther Hollow Lake presents us with a rare opportunity to do all three. We are here to ask, will you stand with us? Will you help bring this vision to life? Together, we can make Panther Hollow Lake a model for urban sustainability and a place the people of Pittsburgh can enjoy once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller.
Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, Carrick and Ciudad de Mexico, Mexico. In the early 2000s, I became a member of the American Society for Microbiology, American Physical Society, and the American Political Science Association. I'm the Global Intelligence Society candidate for President in 2028. Initiative 6 is City Ally and Country Alliance. I think we need one with Mexico City. A concern of this council is descriptive, bias-based, sex, gen equity, and the Gender Equity Commission. I have a partial consistency with that with my Initiative 7, but the focus is sex, gen equality, ascription less, and achievement more. March 2025 is Latin American Intelligence Month, which I founded in 2010. The Latin American Intelligence of Mexicana, Latina de Mexico of somaticist Maricela Ugalde has influenced my Leoge Nascente, LNS, penetrating brain and body, via her martial arts form, Gilon. Sex gender achiever Senora Ugalde draws on Aztec, Mayan, and Zatopek sources in her anti-violent form. It's an anti-martial art. 7 levels linked to 7 animals. There are 21 kata in my LNS. The Latin American Intelligence of Mexicana Sex Gen Achiever biologist Dr. Susan Lopez Chartran has influenced the biogenetic vector of my LNS via her virological work on rotavirus. The Latin American Intelligence of Mexicana, Mexico City born politician Dr. Claudia Scheinbaum has influenced my LNS via her sex gen achiever activities, Senora Scheinbaum, BS Physics, and then to Lawrence U.S. Lab Research, PhD in Energy Engineering at Universidad de Mexico in Mexico City. She is pro-IPC work, the International Panel on Climate Change. Trump is opposed. She became the head of government of Ciudad de Mexico, advocate for elective abortion, same-sex marriage, LGBTQ protection, all laws in Mexico City. She is Presidente Estados Unidos de Mexico, and I think that alliance should be amplified and not axed. She is very helpful to me as a model, and I think that all of these women contribute to a gender equity commission that should be a gender equality commission, and I think that should be changed. This council can do that with the approval of the mayor.
Thank you very much. That exhausts our list of registered speakers. If there's anyone in chambers wishing to speak, please come forward at this time. Provide your name and neighborhood for the record.
Hi, I'm Bernadette. I know you don't directly have anything to do with the proposed, I still call them Port Authority cuts. I did a little bit of research, and before coming here, she's known as the Axeman, KK. She did similar things in Tampa. So I called up my best friend, my ex-brother-in-law, and he said the end result of what she did down there before she came here, claiming that public transportation is a human right, they got gentrified down there. Property taxes tripled, and people on fixed incomes were forced out of their homes. She's targeting Banksville, and she's targeting Green Tree Road. In between is the Banksville neighborhood. We just secured Aldi's. If I pulled up last night, there's like 6 big possible developing pieces of property on Banksville, and they all say that they have bus stops. We did the bus stop audit last year on Banksville, and we were warned. I thought it was a joke, but Darcy Cleaver said if you find too many problems with the bus stops, we'll just eliminate them. She didn't say eliminate the entire bus line. This is targeted towards seniors and disabled. And the reason I say this is I'm still a transportation union brat, and we were just told by drivers and our family that they are losing money from the seniors and the disabled. But she's not saying that to the media. This is going to hurt our neighborhood. And with the DEI cut, that also includes accessibility. We're told by Access, take a bus. Okay. And then the Silver Line, that's right out by another senior program out there in South Hills Ministries, where it's about the only place in the city of Pittsburgh you can go and get diapers for your kids. I need you guys to get on board and to figure out how we're going to save our neighborhoods. It even cuts out all the churches on Sundays. From the Green Tree bus, you have St. Margaret's, you got the Latter-day Saints, you got I don't know, is it still called St. Simon and Jude's? No.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Special Agent Sunshine. How's everybody? I return to sender any voodoo hexes, curses you guys send towards me. 100 million, billion, trillion Googleplex. And I do this to protect myself because you guys do voodoo and people need to know about it. As far as the transportation situation, yeah, I'm abreast to it as well. I've literally been reaching out to the drivers about it. The service, I just heard 43% is being slashed. That's a lot, you guys, for this city to want to grow and thrive. How? When people won't be able to get to work. And then the businesses they work for are going to lose business because they don't have anybody to work for them because they can't get to work. That's crazy to me. Now, for the seniors and the disabled to be targeted, like really, I've been screaming about the fraud in the Social Security office. We're not playing. God is using me to shine a light on y'all fraud. He's not playing. He really is not. The light wattage on y'all now is 1,000,000 watts. A lot of people are starting to see it. Why are y'all targeting disabled people? Why? For no transportation? Like really? Because y'all don't have any money. Now, here's the problem. God giveth, and the Lord taketh away. And it's starting, huh? You feel it? Can you feel it? He's not playing with y'all, and neither am I. And I'm going to keep bringing it till you feel it real bad, like in your own pockets when you can't drive because you can't afford gas. That's what it's getting ready to be. 2 Peter 1:19 says, we have the prophetic word more fully confirmed, to which you will do well to pay attention as to a light shining in a dark place until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts. All God sees is your hearts. And what y'all are doing to seniors in this transportation? Like really? You have the heart to cut out transportation in this city so people can't get to work. They can't get to church. They can't get diapers for their grandchildren. Really? That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. I'm so sorry, but it's bad. Romans 8:7 says, the mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. We live under grace. Amen? So God has given you enough grace to fix this. But because you're not, the problem is getting worse. And people are starting to see it. I will continue to pray for y'all to use the grace that God gives you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, I'm Jacob Poole, previous name Zoltan Jolt Jakob. I lived all over the Pittsburgh area, and I'm here to talk about human trafficking, child trafficking, and request that a census to be done in the Pittsburgh area to measure the victims of child trafficking and human trafficking here from Eastern Europe. I was held by American organizations in a children's camp for nearly 10 years on the sidelines of the Soviet Union collapse and Yugoslav bombings, the Yugoslav wars, where children were collected. Our names were changed and were sold and shipped to America one by one to different directions. And Pittsburgh is ranked at number 9 for child trafficking, human trafficking. And it's not in the back corners. I spent 10 years at the University of Pittsburgh, held captive, alone, isolated, forced to obtain degrees with the name Jolt Jakob and Zoltan Jakob to show diversity in captivity. I had 0 human contact while doing that. Then I was put through PNC Bank and Giant Eagle in Pittsburgh, same thing. Right now, I have no human contact, no family, nobody. I've been in American children's camps, child slave traded since I was 2-3 years old from Eastern Europe. Every information that I'm surrounded by with medical records, police records, everything created around me is artificial for exploitation and slavery. You can look in the Pittsburgh systems. I exist in there, all put there by slave traders while I live by myself in an apartment, no family, no human contact, transported to sites where people say, you're gonna be here for the next few years. Like they say, you're gonna be at University of Pittsburgh until you get your PhD. Then we're gonna make you a cashier at Giant Eagle for 3 years. And they did that. Despite me applying to 3,000 jobs, people show up and take me places and say, you're gonna work here for the next few years. And this is common in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh streets are lined with thousands of people, homeless people. And they're just like me, brought here from Eastern Europe, from the Soviet Union collapse and Yugoslav bombings, from children's camps, slave traded, and people change their names, so their name is not Yuri or Zoltan or Jolt or Radoslav. Their names are like American looking, like Jacob Poole. If you saw my name on a piece of paper, you would not know I was slave traded here from Eastern Europe 25 years ago as a child, but I was. So I request a census to be done because just from the Soviet Union collapse and Yugoslav war areas, it's estimated that the Pittsburgh Metro has nearly 60,000 people brought here. A lot of them were brought here by force, like me, for slavery exploitation, for labor exploitation. And it's not in the back corner, it's every business in Pittsburgh. And every interaction I have is by people holding me captive, transferring me to these sites in isolation for labor.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, excuse me. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. I live at 715 Mercer Street in the Hill District. Some of the elders in the building have been talking to me and coming to me. Some thanking me for coming down, and some is saying, "How can you keep on still coming down? How can you keep on when they're on their phones and TV, on their computers and so on?" Well, let me explain something about me to you. Maybe you'll understand. When I worked for the state, I first was an interviewer trainee, and they had me on the reception desk. And at the reception desk, you would have to give the interviewers the different applications. Well, downtown, there was a lot of hearing impaired citizens that would come in. Well, I would have to take them and give them to an interviewer. But every time that, like the hearing impaired, you would see everybody was busy. But I would have to make sure that they be seen, and they are to be seen within 20 minutes. But there were a lot of times they sat there for 45 or more. But we had one interviewer, Mr. Davidson, Jim Davidson, way back in the corner. And I would go back to him and I say, "Jim," I said, he can't hear, I said, "Look, they're all busy." He said, "Yeah, I see." So he took and started waiting on the hearing impaired. Well, he ended up being promoted to another job, working with the hearing impaired. Well, we had it at the party, and as he was leaving, though, he came to me, he said, Yvonne, I want to tell you this. He said, all the years I've been here, he said, you always brought the people to me. He says, and I saw nobody else would help them. He said, you encouraged me to go back to school. He said, I went back to school. I learned sign language so I could help these people. And he says, now I'm being promoted, and he's working with the deaf. But he has said, because of you, and I'm letting you know that anytime I see anybody mistreated, I will speak about it, even if I really don't have nothing to do with it. I just can't stand to see you, given the privileges that you are, to disrespect us. We're coming to tell you we need help, but you don't interview. I mean, you don't want to talk to us. You don't want to even listen, and that's what gets me. When you can't listen for 3 minutes, that's all we get to say. 3 minutes, and a lot of times I'm talking fast, so I get sort of mixed up. But I'm coming because in my heart I know you are our representatives. The law says you're supposed to represent the people, not just white people, not just black people, all people, not just from the Squirrel Hill, the Hill District too. I told you years ago that the bus line, didn't I tell you Mr. Lavelle did not come? And now we have it, for the kids. We can't even get a bus from the top of the hill. Seniors, 190 apart.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please. Seeing no further speakers, we'll turn to the presentation of papers, beginning with Councilman Charlin, Chair of Human Resources.
No new papers. Good morning, Mr. President.
Thank you. That takes us to Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Safety and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill Number 1656, Resolution authorizing the Mayor and the Director of Public Safety to enter on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh into a professional services agreement or agreements with Kicker, Inc. to provide video production services, including conceptualization, scripting, and production planning, to create videos to aid with police recruitment efforts, total cost not to exceed $32,750 over a one-year period.
And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology.
No new papers, Mr. President.
And that takes us to Councilman Mosley, Chair of Intergovernmental Educational Affairs. Councilwoman Gross, thank you.
Mr. President.
Councilman Mosley presents Bill Number 1657, Resolution amending Resolution 21 of 2025, which authorized the cooperation agreement or agreements with the City of Pittsburgh Equipment Leasing Authority for the purchase and leasing of vehicles, equipment and accessories, equipment support infrastructure, and professional services in fiscal year 2025 by increasing the authorized amount by $93,000 to purchase vehicles and equipment for the Office of Community Health and Safety for a new total of $7,999,319.37. Bill 1658. Resolution providing for an amended reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pittsburgh Water for costs associated with the Haverhill project, where Pittsburgh Water is overseeing the design and construction of the stormwater management components as well as the roadway replacement and rehabilitation, and has or will retain the services of a design consultant, construction management inspection consultant, and construction contractor for the project. The city will reimburse Pittsburgh Water for this work at a cost to the city not to exceed $992,628.77, an increase of $382,513.30 from the previously authorizing Resolution 404 of 2023. Bill 1659. Resolution authorizing the Mayor and the Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into an agility agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for purposes of exchange, documentation, and cooperation with respect to provision of in-kind services between both parties at no cost to the city.
And Councilwoman Kell Smith, Chair of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services.
No new papers, Mr. President.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Finance and Law.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilperson Strasburger presents Bill Number 1660, Resolution authorizing the issuance of 2 warrants in the total sum of $32,000 over 1 year. It is further understood and agreed that the payment schedule of the total settlement amount shall be as follows: $16,000 payable to Scott Allen Beatty, $16,000 payable to Samuel J. Cords, Esquire, in full and final settlement of litigation filed in the United States District Court for the Western District Court of Pennsylvania. Bill 1661, Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to enter into an agreement or agreements with USI Insurance Services for insurance brokerage services for all necessary policy types. This shall be a no-cost agreement with a term of 3 years with 2 one-year options to extend. Bill 1662, Resolution amending Resolution 924 of 2024, effective December 18, 2024, entitled Resolution adopting and approving a 2025 capital budget, the proposed 2025 Community Development Program, and a 2025 through 2030 Capital Improvement Program by increasing Liberty Avenue by $1,063,333.30 to account for additional Federal Highway Administration funding being received by the City of Pittsburgh.
And Councilwoman Warwick, Chair of Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill Number 1663, Resolution amending Resolution 615 of 2024, entitled Resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Pittsburgh and the director of the Office of Management and Budget to apply for a grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Multimodal Transportation Fund for the Smallman Street Complete Street Project. The grant proposal includes an ask of $2,279,662.30 with a local match of $117,100 from the 2024 capital budget for a total grant project cost of $2,396,762.30 to accept the grant, decrease the award amount, and authorize necessary expenditures. Bill 1664, Resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of United Rentals in the amount of $35,025 for the purpose of portable restroom rentals and servicing throughout the city's park system at various locations, and providing for the payment of the cost thereof. Bill 1665, Resolution providing for an amended reimbursement agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for costs associated with the preliminary engineering, final design, right-of-way, and construction phases of the Liberty Avenue Highway Safety Improvement Program, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $12,905,556, an increase of $5,400,000 from the previously authorized amount, and the municipal share of Commonwealth incurred costs not to exceed $29,700, an increase of $24,200 from the previously authorized amount. Future resolutions will authorize the project-specific agreements. And Bill 1666, Resolution providing for a supplemental agreement or agreements with WSP USA, Inc. for costs associated with South Negley Avenue Bridge Project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $1,188,409.39, an increase of $317,588.34 from the previously executed agreement.
Councilwoman Warwick.
Yes, motion to waive Rule 8 on 1664 so that we can discuss it tomorrow.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bill 1664 will be on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. That takes us to Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, thanks.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill Number 1667, Resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Mohammed Birney for tuition reimbursement for an amount not to exceed $33,292 over 1 year. And Bill 1675, Resolution providing for the sale of certain property in the 23rd Ward, 1st Council District, City of Pittsburgh, acquired by the City of Pittsburgh at tax sale.
And I have 5. We could first do the appointment.
Council President Lavelle presents Bill number 1669, resolution appointing Robert Helwig as a member of the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board with a term to expire April 30th, 2028. Bill 1670, resolution appointing Rebecca Yago as a member of the Housing Opportunity Fund Advisory Board with a term to expire April 30th, 2028.
And do members wish to interview or approve? These are for 2 appointments to the Housing Opportunity Fund Board.
I wouldn't mind interviewing if it actually mattered, but I don't feel like it matters, so I won't make a motion for it.
To approve. Is there a second to approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Both members have been approved, and I believe we have 1 reappointment to the HOF.
Yes. Bill 1668, resolution reappointing Janet Evans as a member of the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire December 31st, 2029.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Not. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Evans has been reappointed. Then we have 2 communications.
Bill 1671, communication from Jake Pollack, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting to City Council the attached status update from the Grants Office for the week ended March 21st, 2025. And Bill 1672, communication from Jake Pollack, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting an acting pay request on behalf of the Mayor's Office for Paul Scott and Sidney Cooper and the Department of Public Safety for Martin Devine and Natalie Coleman per the acting pay policy revised in June 2018.
And need a motion to read, receive, and file.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Both bills have been read, received, and filed. That takes us to unfinished business.
Bill 1612, resolution appointing Tammy Thompson as a member of the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire March 26, 2029. Bill 1613, resolution appointing Charlize Smith as a member of the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire March 26, 2029. Bill 1614, resolution reappointing Jayla Rucker as a member of the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire December 31st, 2028. And Bill 1615, resolution appointing Wasi Muhammad as a member of the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh Board of Directors with a term to expire December 31st, 2029.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm abstained from.
1 abstention. Any opposed? They have been approved. Our next order of business is,
Mr. President, can I just abstain from the 1612? Because she did say that she receives money from the city, but she didn't say how, and I didn't have a chance to check on that.
is that Ms. Smith?
Can we abstain, can I abstain from that, and I'm okay with the others?
Thompson.
For Tammy Thompson.
Tammy Thompson?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I want to vote in favor of the others. Is that okay?
That's your prerogative.
Okay. I didn't know because you had them together, so I want to make sure.
No, they're each individual bills, so.
Okay. So that's what I want to do. Abstain from Tammy Thompson's, and then aye on the others.
Thank you. Councilwoman Warwick?
Just to clarify, so the previous ones,
Misprint.
1668, that is not final, right? That's, are we approving that today?
We did because we didn't hold it for an interview.
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah, 1668 was approved.
can I request a hold for can I request an interview?
Yeah.
It's the reappointment for
It's a reappointment.
This is the reappointment of Janet Evans.
Do we have to do something for that? Since we already voted yes?
I just can we do an online interview?
Reconsider, motion to reconsider?
Yeah.
We can, okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This was to reconsider, so now you want to hold for.
I would like to hold for an interview, yeah.
For the reappointment, but you don't want to interview the new appointments?
They've already been interviewed.
We've already entered.
For the HOF?
There's 2 other.
Janet Evans is for the Housing Opportunity Fund, correct?
Oh,
Okay.
Housing authority.
yeah, I
We're
mean,
all
I'm,
mixed
I'm,
up.
I'm
Okay, I'm
open
mixed
to, Councilwoman, did you want to interview for the HOF ones as well?
I got my clarification, I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay.
So all those in favor of holding Bill 1668 for an interview, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill 1668 will be held for an interview.
Thank you.
So now we'll move on to reports of committee for final action, beginning with Councilwoman Erica Schwartzberger, presenting the Committee of Finance and Law.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilperson Strasburger presents Bill number 1650, reported to Committee on Finance and Law for March 19, 2025, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1599, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Spillman Thomas and Battle, PLLC, for expert legal services in connection with the litigation matter in the United States District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania, amount not to exceed $65,662.52 over 1 year. Bill 1600, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Dominique DeCenzo and her attorney Max Petrunia, PC, for a single payment in 2025 in an amount not to exceed $5,000 in full and final settlement of litigation filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Bill 1601, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of West Banco Bank in an amount not to exceed $3,800 over 1 year in full and final settlement of a claim for damage to the drive-through canopy of their property at 5000 Center Avenue from a Domi Traffic Division vehicle on September 6, 2024. 1602, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Edward Torak in an amount not to exceed $6,250 over 1 year in full and final settlement of a claim for damage to his vehicle from an accident with the City Public Works vehicle on July 22, 2024. Bill 1603, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Verizon Pennsylvania, Inc., care of CMR Claims as TPA in an amount not to exceed $4,521.70 over 1 year in full and final settlement of a claim for damage to a utility pole at 2600 Sunset Avenue and Essen Street by a City of Pittsburgh Environmental Services vehicle on December 16, 2022. And Bill 1604, resolution amending Resolution 446 of 2024, which allocated an additional $50,000 to the agreement with Frost Brown Todd LLC by authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Finance to extend the agreement or agreements with Frost Brown Todd LLC for legal assistance relating to real estate, public finance, municipal law, and as-needed consultation by adding $50,000 for a new total not to exceed $250,000.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill, vote aye when her name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Mosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Kell Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received the required number of votes, is passed finally, and that takes us to Councilwoman Barbara Ward, presenting the Committee of Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill number 1651, reported to Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure for March 19, 2025, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1606, resolution authorizing the mayor, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the purpose of receiving grant funds from the Automated Red Light Enforcement Grant Program in the amount not to exceed $335,981.88 to replace the traffic signals at Center Avenue and North Dithridge Street. Bill 1607, resolution authorizing the mayor, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the purpose of receiving grant funds from the Automated Red Light Enforcement Grant Program in the amount not to exceed $647,049.45 to replace signals at the intersection of East General Robinson Street and Sandusky Street. Bill 1608, resolution granting unto BH Venture One LP, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense at no cost to the city, new permanent building foundation that will extend into the right-of-way at 1406 Fifth Avenue, 1st Ward, 6th Council District. Bill 1609, resolution amending Resolution 249 of 2023, which authorized the mayor and the directors of the Department of Public Works and Finance on behalf of the city to amend and renew the lease agreement with Beaver Avenue Associates, LLC, by continuing to provide a leased space at 1301 Beaver Avenue for the purposes of housing the Facilities Maintenance Division of the Department of Public Works by extending the term through March 31st, 2028, with new property owner 1301 Beaver Avenue, LLC, managed by the Regency Transportation Group, Ltd.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion? If none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Mosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Kale Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill having received the legally required number of votes is passed finally. That takes us to Councilman Bobby Wilson presenting the Committee of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill Number 1652, reported to Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for March 19, 2025, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1610, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of City Planning to enter into a professional services agreement and/or contract with HR&A Advisors, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $300,000 for work on the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Flood Mitigation Assistance Grant for Sawmill Run Boulevard. Bill 1611, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of permits, licenses, and inspections for the issuance of award in favor of the Franco Harris Pittsburgh Center at Penn State for the purchase of the National Green Infrastructure Certification Program training at a cost not to exceed $8,000.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Mosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Kale Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill having received the legally required number of votes is passed finally, and it takes us to Councilwoman Teresa Kale Smith presenting the Committee of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Teresa Kale Smith presents Bill Number 1653, reported to Committee on Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services for March 19, 2025, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1598, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of Fence Screen LLC for the purchase of a sound screen for Moore Park pickleball courts in the amount not to exceed $9,671.17 over 1 year.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Mosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Kale Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received the legally required numbers of votes, is passed finally. That takes us to Councilwoman Deborah Gross, presenting the Committee on Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 1654, reported at Committee on Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology for March 19, 2025, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1581, Resolution amending Resolution 621 of 2020, authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into an agreement or agreements and amendments thereto with ERP1 Consulting, Inc., for the provision of services, including professional services, consultation, and day-to-day managed services of the City of Pittsburgh J.D. Edwards Enterprise 1 9.2 application by increasing the approved amount by $300,000 and extending the agreement for an additional 3 years for an amended total cost not to exceed $850,000 over 7 years. And Bill number 1586. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of permits, licenses, and inspections for the issuance of a warrant in favor of Building Eye, Inc. for the purchase of their software and related support services for an interactive map, that internal and public visual display of planning, permit, license, and violation data, cost not to exceed $20,000.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill, will aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Mosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Kell-Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is passed finally. And finally, Councilman Kari Mosley, presenting the Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilman Mosley presents Bill number 1655, reported at Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs for March 19, 2025, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1587, resolution authorizing the mayor, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into an agreement or agreements with Allegheny County and the United States Department of Justice for the purpose of receiving grant funds from the 2024 Byrne Justice Assistance Grant in the amount not to exceed $51,614 to purchase a real-time asset management technology platform. And Bill number 1588. Resolution authorizing a cooperation agreement or agreements providing for the transfer of funds not to exceed $80,000 to the City of Pittsburgh Equipment Leasing Authority for the purchase of vehicles for use by the City of Pittsburgh Park Rangers. This expenditure is associated with grant funds that the city will receive from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's local share account statewide.
You have heard the reading and the title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill, vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charland.
Aye.
Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Mosley.
Aye.
Mrs. Kell-Smith.
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Aye.
9 ayes, 0 noes.
The bill, having received the legally required number of votes, is passed finally. That takes us to motions and resolutions. Is there anything from members? Councilman Mosley.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to the 8th grade team at the Sacred Heart Crusaders. It happens to be a team that my son plays on, but they won the state championship for 8th grade teams. Small schools, there's a big school division and a small school division, but there's only like 30-some boys, between 6 and 8 in Sacred Heart, so it's quite the accomplishment. They won the state championship game by 48 points over a team from the Westchester area, and I'm really proud of all of them and looking forward to bringing them down to council chambers in the coming weeks to give them their due props. And also want to wish best of luck to District 9's Neighborhood Academy, who will be competing for the state championship in their class in Hershey on Thursday.
Congratulations. Anything else from members? Councilwoman Warwick.
I would like to call for a post agenda on the Vision Zero annual memo, please.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll work with you to get that scheduled. Anything else from members? If not, we do have a number of meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1 o'clock, council will hold an executive session on Bill 1660 as relates to ongoing litigation. This afternoon at 2:30, council will hold a cablecast post-agenda discussion on older adult wellness, chaired by councilperson Erica Strasburger. Then tomorrow, Wednesday, March 26th at 9:30, council will hold a pre-agenda interview for the Commission on Infrastructure, Asset Reporting, and Investment, and on the Clean Pittsburgh Commission. Immediately following, council will hold our standing committee agenda at 10 a.m. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. To register to speak at this meeting, please fill out a sign-up form on the council meeting webpage or call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Also, Wednesday, the 26th at 2 o'clock, council will hold a cablecast post-agenda discussion on homelessness in the city of Pittsburgh, which is chaired by councilperson Robert Charlin. And then on Thursday, March 27th, with sessions at 11 and 12, council will hold a briefing to discuss a conflict of interest policy for public service grant selection process. With that, we need a motion to, everyone's here, approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.